So, yeah, we're discussing the drama that happened on X yesterday, where someone tweeted about the... tweeted and TikTok, both Twitter and TikTok carried the story of how some South Africans decided to waste the time of some ride-hailing drivers in Nigeria, and Nigeria retaliated, and it became a free-for-all, rough-and-rough fight. And my thought before we went on break was how the action of a few people, because I do not believe that the combined number of those who started this and even those who participated, those that said no, those that, all of the combined did not reach 1 million people. And yet, every Nigerian in South Africa's life might be put at risk based on the reaction of someone to this. Also, businesses in Nigeria may be put at risk, or ability for business owners to go to South Africa to do business. The response might be influenced by the actions of a few people on either side. What's your take on this, and how do you think we can best, because this can also, it can play in another way, they can bring up another, they've already seen something that can work, so it means it can become repetitive if it is not dealt with appropriately. It can become a precedent.
Yeah.
So,
like I mentioned earlier when I first talked about it, that I think that we need to be deliberate about sending a positive message about our relationship with South Africa and vice versa. I would like for us to take it as a people, that's as Africans, to work on our image of each other and the relationship that we need to have. I mean, America and Canada, you will not even know that they are two different countries. They move in and out, and the person will move to America and just be doing his business and everything. You know, it just doesn't matter. And with white, especially with the white skin, for them, you're white and you're white, you know. There's just so much division that's going on within Africa. And I think that it's a major problem for us going forward. If we need to build as a race, as a people, we need to be able to recognize these little petty things that are going to pull us back, you know. And no one else will do it for us. There's no other race that would put themselves, you know, to sort this out. Because in our disagreement, some people are making they are making a lot from it at our detriment. So Africans need to understand that the better we are united than when we fight. And the story about the problem about not doing something about it now. Now it's mostly seen as banter. Oh, it's a xenophobic issue in South Africa. Oh, it's their problem. Oh, it's just Twitter banter. Is that over the years, you know, we pass on this culture of division to our next generation who don't even understand how it happened. And we have created this monster. So it would be beautiful to have that South Africa-Nigeria relationships. Let's do, you know, when we do like, what do they call it? When you leave one school to the other, to another country. Those exchange programs. Fantastic. That would be nice to do. You know, show movies that show Nigerian, South African relations, positive relationships. Let's talk about our history in the ways that Nigeria helped South Africa in overcoming, you know, during the apartheid situation. Let's tell those stories. Let's remind each other that we're first Africans, or we're first Black people before we're any of these divisions. And I think that we'll see a better relationship going forward.
Well, I think for me, it trickled me back to the African Union. There's something called the African Union. I think maybe most people should go back to Google and read more on the African Union. And from here, I know that about 55 countries are part of this African Union. There are 7 countries from the North Africa. There are 10 countries from South Africa, including South Africa themselves. There are 15 countries from West Africa. There are 14 countries from East Africa. And there are 9 countries from Central Africa. I want to believe that the head of all of these countries gather together at certain periods to hold a meeting, African Union. So what do they discuss? Because if we keep going back and forth and my president is sitting with South African presidents at a meeting, so what are they saying? Do they not, are they not aware that, oh, there's a rift between both citizenry? Are they not aware that, oh, before South Africa...
That brings me back to that question, that we are, because we are on X and we are on TikTok. We think the
whole world.
We think that the entire Nigeria knows what is happening, or we think that South Africa knows what is happening. What concerns presidents and each president with the fact that a few people, less than
But if you say a few people, we're already seeing tendencies of spark. Yeah. Before a fire outblows into a full proportion, it starts with, you understand, they should begin to nip it in the bud. Safety, corrections, you understand, public relations. We cannot just sit down and say, oh, what concerns the president? There's no how that, I want to use Nigeria as an example, the people around the president, the first 20 people around the president, one person would have gotten hold of this news somehow. Most of them are on X, they're on X platform, even more than Instagram and Facebook, because X has posed to be somewhat of a kind of serious platform than Instagram that we joke and Facebook that even comes out with different type of stories. So this is where my point is coming from. When I think it was during the xenophobic attack, we had the president of South Africa even coming to Nigeria. There are things that have brought the president of South Africa to Nigeria. Likewise, they have taken the Nigerian president to South Africa. Now, my conversation is around what do they discuss? Do they discuss about unity, or they just discuss about how we'll do business? Because there's no way you can even foster or prosper in business without unity first. And that's the bedrock. If we allow every of these little things that we claim they are little and just a certain percentage knows it, before it will blow out of proportion, and we'll begin to say, and it started small, and it started little. So I think that the African Union, when they converge, they should talk about these things particularly.
Yeah. Let me take Clement from Nasarawa. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Clement.
Hello, good morning. My name is Clement, not Clement.
Oh, okay.
This one?
Clement, yes. Right. This issue on ground, honestly, is a very, very good issue to treat. It's not only in South Africa that this thing is even happening. It happens here in Nigeria. Because why I am saying that is, I do Uber drive, and now as we speak, I do dispatch riding. And, you know, Uber also do dispatch riding. Yeah. We are facing the same thing here in Nigeria. But I don't know what our government is doing about it or is going to do about it. Because in some cases, you take a parcel, as in the product that the person order, you pick it as a boat rider or a boat driver to the recipient, to the person that order it. And at the end of the day, it will tell you that this is the product is fake. At the end of the day, you know that they start beating either the rider or the driver that they brought fake product to them. Meanwhile, their own is just to deliver the product. They don't know whether the product is quality or not quality. Their own is just to deliver. But in most cases, it results to beating the rider or the driver. It happens at Guarimpa, I think last week. That is by the way. I don't know how they are going to do about it. That is by the way. Then another thing again is this. The food, Nigeria have to do something about it. Because so many people that order on both, what they order is different from what you pick. Let's say, for example, you pick maybe they will just put something inside charger's case, as in either airports or something. When you open it, you discover that it's different thing that is inside. And what is inside is illegal something, is something that ordinarily you are not supposed to carry. So I don't know how we are abusing this boat of the team and how Nigeria is going to do about it. So,
okay, so that is just thank you so much, Mr. Clement. He's discussing something totally different, which might be what discussing later about the abuse of the hailing cabs and using them to transport illicit items without their knowledge. That was what he said last. He said things that you're not made, maybe they would wrap it, they can put in a different box, so you would think this is what you're carrying, but what you're carrying inside is different. And if they are caught with it, they are held responsible. You'll be speaking plenty English. So I think it is something we can discuss after we're done with this. But Amaka, majority taking responsibility for the actions of a few. That is what I see might end up happening if we don't find a decisive way to deal with this. Under the last administration, I am 100% sure that the president will be like, it's just those children that are playing on social media. But at least I know that our current president is more in tune with the importance of social media, and we might see a bit of impact. So I want you to talk about the impact of this few number of people on social media and how they are affecting, and then also the leadership role, which they've already highlighted in terms of bridging the gap.
Okay, so first of all, like she said, a small number can spark into something big, and it's all about being intentional about orientation, okay? Mariam talked about the two countries coming together to bridge the gap. That's still reorientation. What are we thinking? Why do we think the way we think? Why do South Africans, why do they think the way they think? Why is there so much anger? Why is there so much beef? What is the history behind this beef? Yeah. Do you know? I'm sure nobody on this table before understands or knows the history, how it generated, how it started. So we need to, like, the embassies or the government, they need to take a look back, right? And then they need to also utilize the platform, the social media platforms. As for most of these issues are constantly being triggered or started on the same digital platforms. So they need to utilize this platform to start reorienting both Nigerians and South Africans on why did this beef start in the first place? What are we doing to eradicate this beef? What can we do now to work as brothers, as Africans together, right? So it's the only way to solve this problem is reorientation is mindset. Because when a certain people already have a certain mindset, they can't change it. You need to give them a reason why they should change it. And the government plays a major role in reorientation and in giving a reason why we should foster a good relationship between this and that.
I don't think that Nigerians were the problem, have ever been the cause of any of this thing. I think it's always starting from the South African.
But you're saying it, but you don't know their own thoughts. Yeah. Something must have triggered them too.
But if you remember the jollof scandal, there was we just used to always laugh about it. The beef of Ghana jollof and Nigerian jollof, and we found a way to laugh about it. But why have we not found a way to laugh about the drama in South Africa?
I would always say this. I believe that.
Let me take this call. Sorry. Okay. I'll come to you. Oba has called in from London.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good
morning.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Welcome on this.
Yes, good morning, ladies. Thank you very much for this very important topic you're discussing. It's important for us to take this in two dimensions. One, you mentioned the fact that the president should talk about this and all that stuff. Governance means more to, there's more to governance than what's happening on social media. But in as much as that is important, there need for us to have a serious orientation about the power of social media. There are a lot of people, especially in the world we come from, Nigeria, they sit on social media because they have the power of their phone in front of them. They just begin to manipulate things. They gain a serious form of danger in front of this. In the United Kingdom, where I live, people's opinion about other people is being checked by government to say that people are being arrested for what they post on social media. People are going to jail for what they do on social media. People are losing their job for what they put on social media. People are being disqualified from working in some areas because of what they put on social media. We need to check this and we need to look at this. People are destroying other people's businesses because they think they are just doing beef. And that is wrong because it's more important. And people in government should also take time and give this importance to someone in government to monitor this. And because sometimes we just see it as, this is press freedom. It's not press freedom. It is violation of other people's freedom. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I love the perspective he's bringing in because right now, like this was what I was trying to elicit when I said the activity of less than 1 million people is affecting over 200 million people. And he's saying that some governments have been able to create a policy that ensures that whatever you say online, you can go to prison for what you say online because somebody started this from South Africa. And then in retaliation, many businesses are going to suffer. Lost Uber drivers, Uber Bolt drivers, hailing cab drivers that were booked.
They had to shut down
the app.
They wasted their money and then they shut down the app, which meant some people would not be able to make the money. Loss of revenue for many drivers. So I feel that the people who started it, the first person that posted it, the first person who carried out that action, if the person knew that there would be consequences and I might go to prison for doing this, most likely the person would not do it.
I think
Mariam was going to say
yes. You know what? Earlier I took from the papers of the police saying that there was a certain narrative that had been spread about a large number of students that were kidnapped. It wasn't so. It was actually 4 people. 3 of them were not even students. And, you know, they had gone ahead to trace the person, which I find commendable. I thought we were going to even clap. We traced the person that started that tweet. So it shows that even for us in Nigeria, it's something that we're doing. We saw it in the UK too recently. You know, they traced the person. You know, so these are, the world is a changing world. You know, when you were talking about the AU, when the leaders sit down and discuss, what are they discussing? And I felt, you know, for me that was so profound, because I feel that in many ways our leaders are so far removed from the realities of today's world. A lot of the things that happen in today's world happens online. A lot of the conversations that happen, a lot of agitation happens online. So online conversation has to be part of these sorts of conversations when they finally sit at the table. They need to find out who are the representatives on the online. Please come and tell us, so what are our children doing? What are they feeling? What are they saying?
Of the
you know? And then you were saying this, the Jollof war between Nigeria and Ghana. First of all, I want to say that we've had a fantastic relationship with Ghana. As in, our banter is just banter, it's just conversation, you know. And I think that in that way, we are more like the Nigerian, the America-Canada sort of thing with Ghana. In fact, it's funny, a friend of mine says, he's in Accra right now. He says, you know what, we need to shut down this lie that we say Nigerian jollof is better. I have tasted jollof in Ghana over and over again.
And you know Gambia too joined.
There's something in this Ghana jollof, if not for patriotism. Do you understand? So it is just banter for us. But I think it has a lot to do with the years in which we gained our sovereignty. Nigeria and Ghana, we sort of got it at the same time. We have grown and matured. South Africa is still dealing with a lot of post-traumatic, disorder.
You said this thing before.
Saying it, and I believe until the 80s, there was segregation. Till now, they're still suffering it. We're asking the why. Why do they have so much beef? They felt that Nigerians who are we've been independent for so long, we're already earning money and doing things so confident.
Buy property
and then
anywhere.
we come into their country and where they are used to seeing black men like them
Nigerians will go and
at the bottom of the rung, they're not seeing black men doing more. They are used to respecting the white man, used to seeing these things with the white man, and then this black man comes and he has. So there's so much that needs to be done. They will need to also mature in that way. And so in that way, government policy-wise, diplomatic-wise, we'll sort of give them some grace, but also we need to quicken them up.
Do you feel like Nigerians should be more compassionate? We should do like big brothers and look at South Africans and say like, we feel for you. We might take it as we're pitying them. Let's take this call. Are you still there? I'm so sorry. We kept you waiting for a while. Welcome to the show. Good morning. You are live. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, this is Bolttobolt from.
Oh, I cannot hear you well.
Bolttobolt from.
The audio is not good. We're so sorry. Maybe you should.
Okay. Much better.
Okay. Yeah. I just read online now that somebody in Nigeria.
Oh, we lost. I think we lost the call completely.
So before you talk about extending grace to somebody, you need to understand why you're extending that grace. So most Nigerians don't even have this information, don't even know what Mariam just
we are still discussing it.
Okay, and that's why I talked about reorientation, where the government plays a major role in utilizing this platform. We have the government, we have a department of government that has to do with digital and everything, right? National orientation. So they need to utilize this same platform to teach people and tell people the history of the South Africans, that they need grace when they got the democracy. Just give them this sub-story. And Nigerians, we are people we are nice people. And I'm sure they'll begin to extend grace, that when a South African does something, they'll extend more grace and say, maybe it's because, but no, they just want to give
don't put it like that. Not like that.
We are fine.
But riding on what the last caller said, not this one, the previous caller who also mentioned about orientation, and this brings us back to the fact that we are still dragging ASU and federal government by the neck. All of this orientation also sits on the foundation of education, basic education. Some people do not even know the right from the left, but once they are mature enough that they can handle a phone or they can buy a phone, they can work to get a phone, and they have data on it as cheap as 200 naira. I mean, it's to abuse somebody's ancestor that they always look out for. So, but I feel that somebody said one day, and it struck me, that you will hardly find a person of a noble birth abusing people or cursing out people on social media. So
not
it's
with home training.
Not with, that's
you can have noble birth, but you don't have home
Because we
training.
have been seeing them now.
Some
understand?
children of Kineko.
Some children of Armageddon. You understand? They are the last days children. I'm sorry, I'm just a realist. But it takes us back to education. And like the simplest thing that the government can do to make sure that this regulation flies and sits or have a landing space is to go back to our educational system. A lot of people will be much more better and much more equipped if they had the basic knowledge of education. Not to just go on social media to not decipher between what is wrong and what is right, what I should say per time. There are times that I go on blogs, let's say, and I see some post and I want to comment, and in my head I'm like, if I drop this comment, people will not understand my perspective, so I withdraw. Because the time you're dropping the comment, they are not seeing you. You think it's in your mind, and it's translated by 1 million people who see it that same day, the week after, the weeks after, the years after. Your comments are still there. So yes, I would like the government to channel it back to education. At least every child, compulsorily, mandatorily, like the Constitution says, must be educated. Then when you are now enacting punishment,
we are trying now, but
we
it's their own nuko.
We're talking about us. You first of all safeguard your home. Before that's the charity begins at home. You cannot charitize the fellow person in the next compound when your roof is leaking, and you're going to give them patches to patch their roof.
But we have Nigerians who have lost their lives. Not recent time. We've not had xenophobic attacks in South Africa against Nigerians in recent time, but
widespread one maybe.
Yes, but it's happened. It's happened, and I feel like the conversation, while we take care of ourselves, you know what they always say: the child you train would do well, but be exposed to the child your neighbor refused to train. And the child your neighbor refused to train can then end up harming the child that you trained. So we train our own citizens as Nigerians, and whatever happens in South Africa might end up affecting Nigerians who go there.
For whatever reason.
There's a university in South Africa, like an African university for leadership, that I know 2 or 3 Nigerians who sent their children there, and they were sending their children there with prayer and fasting, because going to that school for 1 year opens you up to a lot of Ivy League universities and getting scholarships. So it's a very good school, and it's a Pan-African school, but it is in South Africa, and it is in a very highbrow area. And they've had attack on students living there before, based on the fact that they just feel you are privileged, that's why you are there. So we need to, as we are working as a country to take care of our own, reorientate ourselves. AU, that you mentioned earlier, also needs to have conversations to also reorientate the citizens in every other country to see ourselves as better together. I think it should even be a theme for AU. We're better together, and then let's keep it circulated. I'll take this call.
Stopper that owns the punchline, no. In case.
Just in case it goes viral. They can trace it back to me on the show. Africa is better together. Africa is better together by Tokwe Makodige. Let's take this phone call before we continue on the show. Kayode, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, doctor. Good morning.
Well, good morning.
I just want to call your attention to something.
Okay.
If you, like someone mentioned that it needs to be addressed by the authorities, I think it's very important, because it was taking another dimension this morning, like importing some illegal migration to South Africa, and someone also posted the website where you can order something like they want to demolish a house, something. I saw it on X this morning. I think it's important that the authority look at it before it goes to something that it will get at. I don't know. I'm just saying. So you can just check the update on what is going on. So
thank you so much, Kayode. I want to bring you to Amaka, and I want to talk about the fact that there are already existing cyber laws in Nigeria that can hold people responsible for their impact. So yes, it might have started in South Africa, but somebody in Nigeria retaliated, and you can. While I might not be able to control what somebody does to me, I can control what I do in reaction, because my reaction has consequences. So I'd like you to help us understand to what extent can the current cyber law penalize someone who is fanning the flame of this crisis?
Okay, so when you say in the situation and in what I saw, you can't really say one person is fanning. Somebody did something, somebody responded, it got on social media, and then it took on a life of its own from different places, both within Nigeria, outside Nigeria, with different countries. As far as they were Nigerians, they did that. Yeah. So it's now the laws in the different countries that can hold place, that can hold these people responsible, because it was Nigerians that did this, but Nigerians in different countries, but they have one thing in common, they're all on social media. So it's now left for the Uber community, first of all, the Uber company, to now decide to file an action against who started what started what, depending on the terms and conditions and the policies that they have
for each country.
For each country in their organization. Yes, but then another thing with Nigeria is to make one thing to make laws, another thing for there to be implementations. Right? Yes. So I've not seen, it's just very few times that we've seen the implementation of the cyber laws, right? Maybe. And then the reason why that even goes into effect is because maybe somebody's fighting somebody, they're not cussing out this person, that person, they are popular, this one now goes to police station, then they start. If you notice, they don't really, we've not really seen cases in Nigeria where those cyber laws have really taken that much, have been implemented, have taken that much force, except for bullying.
And it's because the people that are being bullied
probably take it to
and everything. Yeah.
Mariam mentioned she took a story in papers today where someone's post on social media, someone posted an exaggerated account of what happened, and the person was arrested, and the person was apologizing. So this talk about apology. We've discussed it on the show a few times. When I heard somebody told you one person was kidnapped, then you come online and say, they've kidnapped like 50 people in this area, just so that people would retweet your post, and you get away without any facts and cause panic in a community, and you get away with it. Nobody is holding you accountable. Then when they arrest such a person, you now apologize, and then you still go. But you know, you said that.
But because this also comes, we also need to this perspective where what they call it, the X companies or the Instagram company, the social media platform companies also need to take liability for certain things. When you're paying for content, right, and then this paid content is pushing
people to do all sorts of things
online, especially in the age where so many people are unemployed, people are trying to look for alternative source of income. You notice that a lot of things are happening on YouTube. Like I saw something about polyandry and stuff, and they're really showcasing it, and it's trending. I'm wondering, like, don't they even realize that polyandry is a crime? You know, so all these platforms also need to take responsibilities for what they're pushing out there, and let people know that even though we want to pay you for content, the content must meet certain guidelines, right? And must not be opposed to the countries of the land or whichever country you find yourself. Do you understand? Because now, because people want to make money, they're pushing out different things, anything to drive content to their pages. People are reposting,
really do not look
and they're going to get paid. Regardless. So we are saying, so if X, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all people are paying you based on your level of engagement without confirming that what is giving that engagement is criminal or it is fallacy, you're pushing lies and can be inciting and you're still getting paid for posting those kind of things, then okay. So
I think that was what brought about Nigeria wanting to fine WhatsApp, especially saying that their security breach and the way people just are quick to hack you on WhatsApp, especially knowing that you have probably a lot of contacts. Do you understand? When you were talking about your phone, your WhatsApp not coming on, in my head I'm like, I hope it has not been hacked somehow. And they say, oh, there's security policies in place, there's that, and
this one is going back to what Mariam said. Our politicians don't know much about tech, and the world has moved into tech. The risk with tech is higher than the risk of... We are fighting banditry in our mind because they're carrying somebody. See what other countries are dealing with when they shut down they shut down the electricity in a country remotely by hacking. When companies are shut down a whole bank because of hacking. When the politicians don't have a clear understanding or they don't have a robust grasp of the impacts of technology on the lives of people, how would they create laws to protect? They don't know that skit makers are making more money than they are making.
I don't know.
How many of them understand the money being pushed on social media?
They only
Because
understand
when
they want to tax them.
then they are able to create the policies to
right
protect other citizens.
Exactly.
I'm not saying all of them don't know. Please, let's not be taken out of context. I do know a lot of politicians are informed, but the more information you have, even I am still getting more information about how much money.
But you know, one thing with this conversation is that we are the ones that vote in our leaders.
Oh, yeah,
So it comes back to us as well. Who are you voting to represent you? Yeah, so that's another thing. You know, that's one thing we're talking about.
It's a cycle. It keeps coming back.
We all have a responsibility to play, and do we really, play our part? I just love that we can even have some conversations now. You were talking about the fact that in Nigeria we don't, for the policy on ground, we hardly hear of the police looking for people who exaggerate or put out false narrative on social media. I just wanted to say, so I just wanted to say that during the protest, or just before the protest, someone had used TikTok and done a video. The person lived in Jos and was inciting the polity, and the police traced the person. So sometimes I know that a lot of things are not working, but sometimes when they work, I would like for us to highlight, for us to highlight it. They found that person, and the person also ended up begging. The person actually said he did not realize that his words, what he said on social media, would blow up that.
So now, okay. I will call. Welcome to the show. Good morning. You are live, Mr. B. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. My name is Nicky. I'm calling from Adwekis. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to really commend the good work you are doing. Your enlightenment is quite is part of this world.
Thank you.
But interestingly, what we're talking about right now is an issue that really needs to be taken seriously.
Are you still there?
We lost that.
Oh, please, don't lose that.
Oh, we're so sorry.
Yes, I was going to finish up and say that the part of the policy now that I want to see better is proper punishment of those.
Not apologies.
Not apologies.
Exactly.
Because what happens is when they find you, you apologize in your secret home or whatever, and you move away. Your apology doesn't go viral.
Exactly.
It does not say anything to the people who we have already misinformed in the first place. I talk about community service all the time,
Yeah.
Wear that orange outfit or light pink outfit and go from
Sweep
school
everywhere.
to school. And go from school to school
When
and
they see
teach
it on you,
younger
they
people
even know
the impact.
the impact of your words on social media, so that younger people will not be, would not take.
And they record it and post it online.
I've been asked to do this because this is what I did. This is the bad I did.
I remember
very
that,
soon you are going to be old enough to have. You are going to be old enough to have phones. Be careful the sort of things that you put out there. Everything.
I think that if they are looking for punishment method, please don't even try it. Don't put prison yard or correctional center. It will not work. Because we don't even have enough. You understand? And it's to propound the problem of somebody that is just an offender of social media. You're now going to join the person with armed robber and housing.
Well, don't do the crime. If you do the crime,
no. That's what I'm saying. That there are things that, of course, when the politician says that because you don't sing national anthem, 10 years imprisonment or 5 million naira fine. Some things are like you're bringing sledgehammer to fuck battle. No, don't carry it like that. You are bringing gun. No. But I'm saying that because of the fact that we're also clamoring for enactment of punishment, they should look at what is appropriate and not bring that vague or bogus kind of thing for us. So that's my final word.
All right. So final comment from you, though.
Yes, I just first of all, I'm more interested in history, in knowing what actually caused this problem between South Africans and Nigerians. If anybody knows, I want to hear, because when you don't know the root problem cause, you can actually get a good solution for that. So we need to know. We need to go back to history to know what the problem is, and then we can begin to find the right solutions to the problem.
Let me end it this tweet. Moses Lowell says, someday the social media censorship law we scorn at will beg for it. Freedom comes with the assumption of responsibility. When the latter is ignored, a crime might be committed and punishment should be meted. Time will tell.
So I think that captures the conversation we've had on the show. Everybody must take responsibility for what you say, what you do, and its impact on the lives of others. Whether you thought of it before doing it or you did not think of it before doing it, you are responsible for your actions, and you should be punished if you found guilty of inciting or committing any form of crime.